Alright, so what's going on, guys? So in today's video, we've been covering a few things that somebody brought up to me recently, is that maybe I didn't do a good job covering as to how to do the vacuum lines when you turbo your car. So, of course, there are a few ways to do it. I'm just going to show you guys how I did mine, since I'm going to be redoing them anyway. So I'm redoing them with a manual boost controller. The main reason it ended up here because I felt like it was out of the way of anything that was moving, and I didn't have any extra vacuum line. So this vacuum line that I used, this is actually windshield washer fluid line. That's right, the line that runs from, of course, your windshield wiper bottle to your hood sprayers. I just so happened to pull a little bit extra at the junkyard, 4 feet of line or so, and it happens to be the right diameter to fit all the vacuum areas. But, of course, it's not the ideal setup. So what I ordered was actually this line here. This is some silicone line with the same inner diameter. I believe this is a 1/4 inch inner diameter. And this is 10 or 12 feet of it. But this will be a good start. Of course, it does come in multiple colors. I want to keep this line fairly low key and not do anything crazy. So that's why I went with the black. But the link for this will be down in the description. You guys can check that out. It's some pretty sturdy stuff. The first thing we're going to go over is your vacuum line routing. So I had someone ask a question about the S90 throttle body. Of course, if you were to get an S90, maybe I failed to mention this in the video or show it, but it doesn't have any ports on it. So those vacuum lines that normally run from your intake manifold to the throttle body, you can just cap those off. And that's what I've done here. Of course, this is the Evo 8 manifold. You see I have this one port that is blocked off. Then I have another reference source that runs from the intake manifold to the blow-off valve. Now you notice this is a blow-off valve that vents to the atmosphere. And the reason I can run that is because I'm running speed density. So that's actually what this plug is back here. It is a speed density sensor. And of course I'm running the Omni 4-bar map sensor. Like, so if you're not going to run speed density, you really shouldn't run a blow-off valve that's going to vent to the atmosphere. So next, of course, you have your wastegate. Now my wastegate is going to be hard to see because it's just kind of tucked down under here. And I have my dump tube routed on it. But you want to use one of the ports on the side of the wastegate, not on the top. But actually, guys, let me just get my knockoff wastegate and show you a little bit easier. So, of course, you guys might remember my knockoff tile wastegate that I bought. I bought this because my actual tile wastegate, I bought secondhand. It didn't come with any fittings, so I figured it'd be cheaper to just buy a knockoff and then use the fittings from this. Turns out that wasn't really a great idea, but I do have this as a spare to demonstrate for you guys. So you see you have some holes around the base of it, and you have one on the top. Now on the real tile, these are actually labeled air and water, because a couple of these ports are going to be if you choose to water cool this wastegate, which on most setups is not necessary, but it is an option. You're only going to need one of these bigger ports. So if you see this port right here is bigger than that one there. So one of these bigger ports is going to be for your air. You need to block off all of those except for one. The water ports, if you're not going to water cool it, can stay open. And what you're going to do is just connect, in this case anyway, you're going to connect the boost controller to one of those side ports. And so how I have my wastegate and boost controller hooked up is that this line here connects to the side of the wastegate, and it runs to the back port on this boost controller. Now this particular one, which is a Hallman Pro boost controller, the directions are to connect the wastegate to the back port, and then the outlet that's on the bottom of this wastegate, which is this line right here, goes to the boost reference source on your compressor housing, which on my old turbo was, of course, right here. I had a fitting. So that is how that is set up. It's pretty simple. It's really only 2 lines. Like I said, there's one from the wastegate to the boost controller, from the boost controller to the compressor housing, and then of course there's one from the intake manifold, from one of the ports on the intake manifold, really doesn't matter which, to the blow-off valve. And that's all there is to it. And that's it, guys. It's just 3 lines, one from the intake manifold, one from turbo, and one from the wastegate. And that's all you need to do for a basic setup. Now, my car is making 25, 26 pounds of boost, and I think that's going to be more than enough for what you guys will probably be doing as well. So, you don't want to tap into your brake booster. If you don't know what that is, that's this big drum round thing that's back here. There's a big vacuum line that runs off the back of it that runs through the intake manifold. You do not want to cut that. What that is make sure that your pedal stiffness does not change. It's also a pretty big line, so you would need a big fitting, and it wouldn't really match up with the rest of your lines anyway, because most of these are like 1/4 inch inner diameter hoses. Like, so I think that's it. So of course, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. But that's not specific to the Galant 4G, whatever. That's pretty much all turbo cars. A simple setup, simple vacuum line setup that you're not running any CO2 or anything like that. That is how you're gonna route your lines. And actually, one thing I did forget to mention is that it's a good idea on your vacuum hose to put something to help them hold them in place, because they can blow off when you're under load. Like, so what I do is go ahead and put some zip ties on the ends of each hose just to help keep them clamped down. You can see the zip ties maybe back here on that hose there. And that'll help hold them on so they don't blow off. My tuner also recommended using super glue on the end of the hose just to help seal those connections in. All right, so that's it, guys. It's super simple to install vacuum lines on your newly turbo car. There's a couple things to remember: that you don't want to mess with your braking system, your brake booster, anything like that. And you want to have something on the end of your lines to secure them, whether it be super glue, whether that be zip ties, whether that be clamps. Put something on those vacuum lines to secure those ends so they don't pop off on the load. But with all that said, I want to thank you guys for watching my video. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Have a great day.